Welcome, everyone, to tonight's meeting on saving your money. Seems like such a simple concept, saving your money. Most of us have heard it. We maybe had a parent or an uncle or an aunt or a grandparent tell us, save your money. But what does that mean, and why should we? So let's start with why. Why should we save our money? Well, because of emergencies, for one. Emergencies will happen in our life. It's not a maybe, it's not a probably. It will happen. And if you don't save for emergencies, you don't have an emergency account, and the emergency happens, you're going to go into debt to deal with that emergency. So you're going to put it on a credit card, or you're going to get a loan, then you're going to pay interest on that credit card or that loan, making that emergency worse. So emergencies, that's one good reason. Another is peace of mind. We just sleep better. We feel better. We can go to bed knowing I'm prepared for something that may happen sometime in the near future. That's not a small matter. Peace of mind can make a big difference in the way we live our daily life. So what I'm saying is having savings set aside makes life less stressful, which again is a big deal. Third thing is growth. I'm going to be talking tonight briefly, next week more so, on growing our money. It's not just good enough to save it. We want to start growing it so it starts building on itself, something we'll talk about in more detail tonight and in the weeks to come. Growing our money, incurring passive income, is how we achieve wealth. And finally, freedom, which for me, that's the big one. That's why you save money. You save money because you want to be free one day from the world of work. So you don't need a job. You may want a job, but if you save your money and grow it efficiently, one day you won't have to work. That's freedom. So the why kind of comes down to priorities. How important is it to me? And first time you hit an emergency without savings, you're going to realize just how big of a deal it is. Come on in, ladies.
Yo.
Yo. So the next thing we're going to talk about is how to do it. How do you save? Sounds simple. Well, you just do it, right? Do you save at the beginning of the month or the end? Talk about this briefly. You save at the beginning of the month. You pay yourself first. I know some of you have heard that phrase before. What does that mean? That means you automatically have money taken out of your savings account, your checking account, maybe your paycheck from your employer, automatically right into some kind of savings. Pay yourself first. Pay yourself before you pay other people, before you pay your bills, before you spend money on the neat stuff in life. Pay yourself first. It is key to accumulating wealth over time. And that means, again, setting it up on automatic, where it happens automatically. You make no effort to do it. You set it in place, and you let it do its work. It's a big deal. So that's how you do it. It's not any more complicated than that. Of course, what you don't do is try to save money. Save what's left at the end of the month. It's never anything left. So then next month, try again. Don't put yourself in that situation. Pay yourself first and make it automatic. It's a key to accumulating wealth over time. How much? Well, those are my three basic rules. 20% will get you freedom. The freedom I've talked about. Freedom to escape the world of work. 10% is good. 10% will take you far in life. If you automatically save 10% of your income, you will do well in life, I promise you. You may not reach that level of freedom that you desire, but you'll do well. you'll be ahead of the crowd. You say 0%, you're a slave to that job. You will never leave that job. You will never leave the world of work because you have nothing to fall back on. Don't put yourself in that situation. And again, I use those words, don't put yourself in that situation. That is a choice. These are choices that people make. It goes back to that very first week when we talked about who's responsible for our life, our financial life. I am. You are. Take that responsibility. Commit yourself to saving that amount of money. I talk about these amounts of money, I'm talking about your gross income. Right off the top, before taxes, before anything's taken out. Yes, ma'am?
You may talk about this earlier, like saving and checking, but where should we put the savings?
Yep,
okay.
We're going to talk about that. No problem. So commit yourself to saving that amount of money, 20%, from that gross income. Again, that is the very top before anything is taken out. Tell yourself, commit it, and make it happen. The earlier in your life that you do that, the better off you're going to be. Don't be that person who is 30, 40, 50 years old who says, gosh, oh, if only. Don't be that person. Where do we put it? Where? Well, you can put it in a mattress. You can put it in a sock drawer. I know people who put money in a sock drawer. You can bury it in the backyard. You can do that too. Those are certainly places you can put your money because you're afraid of these other institutions like a bank or a credit union. That's where a lot of people put their savings. And some people put their savings in an investment company like Vanguard. Maybe T. Rowe Price, Fidelity. There's other names. I'm going to want you to put your savings in Vanguard. That's where I keep my savings. Now, should you do it before you fully understand it all? No. But we want our money to grow. And I'm here to tell you, it's not going to grow here. And it's not going to grow here either. Next up, what type? And this is the question, right? What type? A savings or a checking account. This is where a lot of people put, again, their savings. Maybe a money market account, which is in a bank or a credit union. Maybe a money market fund, which is in an investment company like Vanguard. Maybe a certificate deposit, again in the bank. It's kind of like a bond. You give them a chunk of money. They promise you a certain rate of return over a 6-month, 1 year, 3, 5 year time period. You can also put your money in bonds, stocks, and real estate. Now those things scare people because they fluctuate. They have certain degrees of risk that come with them. That's understandable. You should be concerned, but as you educate yourself further and really understand these instruments, it reduces our risk because we understand them. And we understand the different types of risks that are involved in any kind of investment. You see, there's more than one type of risk. A lot of times people, almost all the time, when you hear people, pundits, whatnot, they talk about risk. Well, they're talking about market risk. Market risk being that fluctuation, stocks going up, going down. That applies to bonds. It can apply to real estate. That's market risk, and it's real, and it is one type of risk. Another type of risk, something that you don't hear much talk about, but you need to be very, very concerned about it, is inflation risk. Inflation risk is our money shrinking because inflation is eating up our money that's not growing. So the money that's sitting in a mattress, in a stock, it is shrinking. So is that bank account. If you're earning 0.1%, 0.1, and inflation's running at about 3%, you've got a negative 2.9% real return. Real return is your nominal return, 0.1, minus your inflation rate equals your real return. Here's a goal that I would like you to set for yourself. It's a goal that I set for myself. I want my money to earn at least a 0% real return. Meaning, I just want to stay up with inflation, with my basic savings. Now, that's not good enough for my long-term savings, but for my basic savings, I just want to stay up with inflation. Inflation risk is a big deal. You rarely hear people talk about it, but you need to be concerned about it. So when people talk about money in the bank being risk-free, that's not correct. There is no risk-free investment in this world. It does not exist. Don't let anyone tell you that they have a risk-free investment that's a no-brainer, you can't lose. If somebody's trying to pitch that to you, you need to run quickly away from them. But you will hear a lot of people talk about the bank being risk-free. Well, they're talking about market risk. FDIC insurance is going to cover your capital, the amount of money you have in there, up to $250,000 per bank. But they do nothing to protect you from inflation risk. Focus on inflation risk. It is a big deal. I'll state the obvious. If your money is shrinking, it's not growing. Last bit of risk is event risk. Money in the mattress, house burns down, got a problem. House burns down, tornado hits the house, sock drawer, gone. Money buried in the backyard, dog digs it up because he saw you bury it, and he eats it. That's an event risk. Event risk is real. Again, we discount it like it can't happen. It does happen, folks. It's real. Homes go bye-bye from tornadoes and hurricanes and floods. There's many kinds of risks out there. We need to be thinking about those. So when we stick our money in the mattress because we're afraid of everything else out there, well, we're discounting that event risk. Key point, there is no risk-free investment. You need to be aware of that and weigh all these different types of risk as you decide where to save your money. So that's a basic idea when it comes to saving our money and how we look at risk. Now I'd like to, yes ma'am?
So what's the risk with an investment company?
The risk is market risk. And that means, again, with stocks or bonds, even real estate, it's going to fluctuate from day to day. And I'm going to get into that a little bit more. Okay. But it's important to understand that market risk is real. You hear, the key point there is you hear it spoken about all the time, as if that's the only thing you have to worry about. And because we hear it all the time, it's easy to think that's the only thing we have to worry about. And that's not true. So let's take a look at some other types of approaches to saving. I'm going to give you a couple more examples. So first, we're going to go to Vanguard.com. This video is on my website. We'll get a chance to see a different lady provide you a similar message that I have. Okay, Mr. Panasonic, come on, baby. There we go. Again, this is on my website under recommended viewing, if you want to look at this at another time.
you're just starting out in the workforce, planning for retirement may be the last thing on your mind. But for young investors, there's no time like the present to start preparing for your golden years.
Because your retirement is likely decades away, you have an advantage when it comes to saving, namely the power of compounding. Albert Einstein is widely quoted as calling compounding the most powerful force in the universe. Compounding simply means that as you invest over time, you earn interest on your interest. Getting an early start is paramount in helping to build a solid portfolio to support your lifestyle in retirement. For example, if you invested $10,000 today and earned an average annual return of, say, 8%, which you then reinvest, your account could grow to over $100,000 over 30 years without you adding another cent. Now that's powerful. So where do you start? Many companies make it easy to save for retirement by offering employer-sponsored retirement plans, like 401k plans. If you're enrolled in your company's 401k, your retirement contributions come right out of your paycheck, so investing is automatic. Many employers also sweeten the deal by offering their employees a match on 401k contributions. If you're not taking advantage of this benefit, you're leaving money on the table. Investing in 401k plans or other qualified retirement plans also offers a tax benefit. Each dollar you invest in your plan is a dollar you likely won't have to pay federal income tax on. So investing in these plans helps you save money for retirement and may also reduce your tax bill. Some 401k plans even make it easy to keep your momentum going by offering a program to automatically increase your contribution percentage each year. If you sign up for one of these programs, you may not even notice the impact to your take-home pay, but you'll be saving more for retirement. In addition to saving early and often, you should keep a few other principles in mind. Investing for retirement is a marathon, not a sprint. You're going for the long haul. Recent market performance provides a vivid illustration of the risks of investing in stocks, especially in the short term. But historically, stock investments have provided the most opportunity for growth over the long term. Your retirement assets will be spent many years from now, so investors with longer time horizons may want to consider investing in stocks, especially because factors like inflation can erode the value of your money over time. But just as you know you should eat a balanced diet, it's also important to view your portfolio with a balanced eye. Vanguard studies show that your asset allocation, your mix of stocks, bonds, and cash, has more of an impact on a portfolio's performance than the individual funds you select. So it's critical to consider your time horizon, understand your risk tolerance, and pick an appropriate asset allocation. Vanguard.com has tools to help you decide what level of investment risk you'd be comfortable with. The benefit of diversification becomes very clear in down markets. In 2008, one of the worst years in terms of market performance, a portfolio completely invested in stocks lost 37%, while a portfolio invested in a mix of 60% stocks and 40% bonds lost more than 23%. Still a loss, but much less severe than the less diversified portfolio. So holding a mix of assets can help you mitigate the risks of market volatility and inflation while helping to provide a smoother road to retirement. If you're ready to invest but not sure how to get started, consider investing in a target date fund. Start by looking at the fund that matches the year you're planning to retire and see if you're comfortable with that asset mix. As the target date approaches, the fund will shift its asset allocation to more conservative investments, rebalancing your portfolio. You can learn more about saving for retirement, diversification, and the power of compounding at Vanguard.com. Thanks for watching.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next up. This is at the Vanguard site. This is one of their truths. So if you look under the insights, you're going to see different options to educate yourself further. Again, Vanguard is an investment company that takes your money and invests it over a broad range of assets, stocks, bonds, real estate. Let's take a look at exactly how compound interest works. In this case, you've taken $10,000 and you've saved it and you've placed it into the market. Yes, sir? Yes, I can. Oh. Be patient with me, folks. Okay, so we've taken $10,000. First year, we start earning interest on that money. Those are dividends and capital gains that we're earning. Dividends are like interest. Capital gains are what we gain from basically our stocks and bonds appreciating in value. I call these money babies because they start popping up. That is your money making money. You can also look at this as kind of a family. Your kids are having kids. So the money that you made is also making money. And so it gradually compounds over time. This is compound interest. And this occurs from this initial $10,000 investment. You didn't put any more money in there. All this came from that. So the key is getting your money in, getting it working into the market as early in your life as you can. And that means that automatic savings plan where you pay yourself first. Any questions on compound interest? Now let's look at some real life examples. Okay, I'll take that. That passive income over there, that's my passive income the last year. So, this is my money making money. February 2012, my money made about $11,000. March, April came. My money lost $1,100. In May, I lost $20,000. Ah! This is what we have to accept. If we want a return on our money that's beyond inflation, we must accept risk. No risk, no return. Each month, my money continues to grow over time. Again, come October, I lost money again. During the month, my account's doing this. But at the end of the year, I had made a little bit over $47,000. And what did I do? Nothing. I was in college hanging out with you guys. So it's important to understand we simply want to get our money working for us. And the earlier in your life that you do that, the better off you're going to be. Now, saying all that whole presentation I just gave you so far, a financial advisor could give you that presentation. So could a life insurance agent. But if you remember, I told you to stay away from that. So in the following weeks, we're going to be talking about how to invest your money wisely and efficiently so you don't pay those commissions to those salesmen. Passive income is how you accumulate wealth over time. Get your money working for you. So one day, you can live on that. And you can tell your employer, you got something else to do with your time. You can do it. Next up, I want to give you an example of two people. And this goes on in America every day, I promise you. We got Solid Sam, or if you prefer, Samantha. Makes $40,000 a year. $40,000. You know, not a great paycheck, but he's getting by. Fast Freddie, he makes $400,000 a year. $400,000. Now you're thinking, oh, I'll be Fast Freddie, right? Most of us would, yeah, sign me up. I'll be him. Well, here's the problem. Solid Sam, he's been where you're at. He's bought in to saving his money. He knows it's important. He knows that his future is going to come down to his saving. He pays himself first. He makes it automatic, and he makes it a priority. And he saves 20% of his income, which happens to be $8,000. Roughly $666 a month. Comes right out of his paycheck. Boom. And when times get tough, he cuts expenses, not his savings. Now, Fast Freddie, screw that. He's going to have a good time. He buys the expensive cars, the beautiful designer clothing, takes his girlfriend out to great restaurants. He has a great time. But he never quite gets around to that saving part. You know. He's having a great time. Why should he save? He's making $400,000 a year. So he ends up, of course, saving nothing. He's good with that. After 10 years, Solid Sam, he's still making $40,000 a year. He's just chugging along. Saving $8,000 a year. That's compounded, earning a 9% return after cost, which we're going to be talking about in the coming weeks. It's up to $130,000. Now, you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it. Because again, Fast Freddie, he's got nothing. Nothing. Thomas Stanley, he teaches us in this book, Stop Acting Rich, that in America, you can be rich or you can act rich. But you can't do both. So, what do you want to do? You can look it. Fast Freddie looks rich. He's got all this beautiful stuff that loses value immediately after he buys it. It's worth pennies on the dollar. He forgets what he spent money on because it got old fast. So he had to buy new stuff because he had a certain image he had to portray. And if you look at Fast Freddie, he looks rich. Now he's acting rich. Did you see? He's got nothing. He doesn't have squat. Now, Solid Sam does not look rich. He might be wearing a pair of jeans, t-shirt. After 20 years, Solid Sam's money has grown to $448,000. This is a guy who's making $40,000 a year. And now he's got $448,000 because of compound interest. His passive income, his money keeps growing. And he's just doing his work, chugging along each year. Not trying to act rich. He wants to be rich. Now, of course, Fast Freddie, he's over here living the good life. After 20 years, he still has nothing. But he looks rich. He does. You look at him, he still's got this look like, man, I want to be just like him. But do you? After 30 years, Solid Sam got $1.2 million. And guess what? He's done. He's decided to retire. He's 52 years old. You know what? He's had enough of this work stuff. He's going to do something else with his life. Whatever he wants to do. Chase his passions. And because of his saving habits, he can do it. Fast Freddy? After 30 years, he's screwed. Because you know what? Maybe his employer let him go. He's worth nothing, folks. That guy that looked so successful is worth nothing. And the guy who just looked like your average everyday person is now retired with a nice big kitty of money that he's going to live on in his later years. And I know in your mind you're thinking 52. Holy cow, he's old as hell. 52 is not that old. I promise. I promise. And you're going to get there one day and realize, okay, Finley was right. I was 20, I didn't think he was right, but, you know. And that's okay. It's okay. But I promise you, the right habits, forming the right habits now will change your life later. They're real. Fast Freddy, those habits will catch up to him. When he's 52, he's looking for another job. And he's got a lot of bills to pay. So you can choose. But here's the big point, and again, it comes out of this book. Be careful what you wish for. There's this illusion going on. There's a lot of people out there like Fast Freddy. They look wealthy. They're not. Don't chase that. That is not something you want. Developing those right saving habits can change the course of your life. Now, I haven't talked about some details tonight, where to put your money. We're going to be talking about that more in the coming weeks. I'm going to be talking to you about a no-load index bond mutual fund, a no-load index stock mutual fund. Those are the places I want you to put your money, because those are the places that have shown us in the past that will provide you the highest return over time after cost, because they charge you so very little. And you get rid of all those salesmen that take out those big whopper commissions. Any questions on some of these things I've talked about? Yes, sir.
So do you just leave that 47,000 in there, or do you treat that as your, is that what you live off?
No, I just let that ride.
Just keep going up?
Yeah, it keeps riding. It keeps expanding. And the good news is, it's just money. That doesn't define who I am. See, Fast Freddy, it did. Fast Freddy is defined by the stuff in his life. We talked about that during advertising week. It's not going to serve you well. Yes, ma'am.
When you do get a job, how do you find out the amount that your employer will match for your retirement?
They have to provide that information to you. Human resources, generally you're going to go in there, they're going to give you a packet that discusses your whole retirement package. They'll tell you what percent they're going to match. They'll tell you what options you have within your 401k. And that's something, we have a little time, we can talk about that tonight. That's an issue, and that's a big issue that I think many people make a mistake on. People start investing in their 401k in a nonprofit or a school, that'd be a 403B. In a state organization, that would be a 457. Federal government, that'd be a TSP, Thrift Savings Plan. So you're investing in it and you're thinking, yeah, okay, Finley, be proud of me. Well, what are you investing in? Because initially your money goes into like a default. It's a savings account. And it's very low risk. It's one of these kinds of things. Cash. In other words, it doesn't fluctuate. And what's it going to do over time? It's going to shrink. So you have to take your money in that default and select the kind of mutual funds in your 401k, 403b, TSP that's going to grow your money over time. They're going to have stock mutual funds. They're going to have bond mutual funds. I'm going to be here to tell you to focus on finding index mutual funds and or target date retirement funds to move your money into from that default, from that initial savings account, which is where all of your money is going to go initially. So remember that in the future, just starting is good, but you've got more steps to take before you get that money working for you. Does that help? Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I have a quick question about the passive income. When you get this 2020K loss, did you get margin call and need to increase your account?
Okay. She's talking about a margin call. Wow, I'm impressed with that question. A margin call is if I were borrowing money to invest, and if my money goes down to a certain degree, I get a margin call, meaning I got to come up with money to cover it. Well, no, I never get a margin call because I don't borrow money to invest. But that's a really good question. So this is my money I'm using, and I would not encourage any of you to use margins to invest. Basically, that's borrowing money to invest. So the idea makes sense, kind of, right? Okay, I'm going to borrow at 3% so I can earn 9% like Finley told me I would. Well, that doesn't always work, right? Doesn't always work. Sometimes we lose money. And you will lose money. Sometimes we maybe forget to tell people. If you invest in the stock market, you will lose money. I lost approximately $180,000 in 2008. This is where you think, why am I listening to him? You see, that's part of the risk we take when we invest. We have to accept that kind of risk. Yeah. You will lose money in some years. That's how the stock market works. Now, what was happening when I was losing all that money? I just kept paying myself first. Going in every month. As the market was going down, I was buying more and more stock. And pretty soon, it went up, up, up. And I made about $120,000 in 2009. So wasn't I an idiot in 2008 and a genius in 2009? No, of course not. I understood the markets. I understand the history of the markets. Up and down. I don't sit around and listen to television pundits tell me what's going to happen. Right? They're not psychics. I'm not a psychic. I'm not telling you to time the market. You should not time the market. You simply put money away each month. It's called dollar cost averaging. $666 every month. Just like Solid Sam did. Focus on those habits and keep it simple. First, you and me.
Sure. So when do you know, like, when to take that money out?
Yeah. Well, it's part of your financial plan. So we look at our goals. So the question is, how do we know when to take it out? Well, we're going to take it out in increments. It's part of the answer. And those increments are going to have to do with our financial. What do we need the money for? Are we saving to buy a home, for a down payment? Well, what is our time horizon for that? Are we saving for retirement? So is our time horizon 20 years? 30 years? So we have different time horizons for different goals that we've set, which is the value of our financial plan, which I talked about in the second week. And again, you can go on my website. You can not only see the instructions for a financial plan, you can actually see a video that talks you through putting together a financial plan. Yes, ma'am?
So when you're taking out, does it still like fluctuate?
It can, but the goal is to take it out. Let's use a target retirement date. You heard her talk about it, and I mentioned it. Let's say you have a target date retirement fund of 2040. You've designed your goals say that you're going to need that money around the year 2040. So as we get closer to 2040, that fund has been selling stocks and buying more bonds and cash, making it more conservative. So when you need that money, it's going to be there for you in 2040, and the risk has been reduced dramatically, meaning stock exposure. It's much lower. So you fit your investments, and again, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. We fit our asset allocation, something she talked about, stocks and bonds and cash, and we fit it in relation to our goals, our risk tolerance, which means how much risk can I take before I freak out and sell everything, and then, you know, my time horizon. How long do I have? Does that help? Yes, ma'am. Question?
My turn?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to know, because we have different investment companies that we can invest, but you suggest Vanguard.
Yes.
I just want to know why and what's the
Another
maybe later we talk.
Another great answer. No, that's another great question. The reason I recommend Vanguard, there are many out there. Vanguard is a no-load mutual fund family. What does load mean? I know some of you know this. Help me out.
Commission. So,
Yes. Commission. Load equals commission. So Vanguard is a no commission family, meaning you give them $1,000, $1,000 gets invested, not 1,000 minus some salesman commission, which is generally around 5.75% Class A sales load. So it's a no-load family, which is good, but there's many of them in America. So why Vanguard? Well, because, and again, this is based off research and investing with Vanguard for about 20 years. I have no affiliation with Vanguard. I'm sure they like me talking about them in such glowing ways. But they do it so well because they keep the fees, which is how a mutual fund makes money, the expense ratio. They keep those fees dirt cheap through index mutual funds, which again is why I want you to invest in no-load index mutual funds. And that's going to come in the following weeks. But that's why. Because the costs are going to be so low, because we're focusing not only on earning our money, growing our money, but we're focused on how much we're making after cost. Something that a financial advisor, life insurance agent, they don't really like talking about so much. They just like talking about, oh, you can make this much. But don't ask me about all the fees and commissions. I'm concerned about them. You need to be concerned about them because all those fees and commissions come out of your final return.